I would like to give you my critical perspective as an intimacy coach over the impact of the releasing of the Epstein files for the whole planet. This isn't just for the United States of America. This isn't just for North America. This is for the whole planet. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Liana, or actually Andrea Liana. I'm Eastern European. For 10 years, I've been showing up here as an intimacy coach. Before this, I was an environmental activist in Eastern Europe. And before anything else, I'm actually a human being. For some time, obviously, I've been studying the shadow of sexuality and I think shadow of humanity, if you ask me. So a lot of the things that I saw and heard from those files didn't necessarily shock me more than I was already shocked since I began diving into these topics. The only thing I can safely say is that now anybody who speaks about these things is not going to be considered some wild conspiracy theorist who's not exactly sane in the head, who's seeking for attention. No. We're actually going to start to take these things seriously, as we should have from the beginning. Okay? There have been a lot of people saying that there's a lot of demonic behavior, not just in entertainment, but also in politics. And with the amount of atrocities, such as drugging, raping, killing, impregnating, allowing the children impregnated to give birth and then kill the babies, threaten to people or threats to people if they ever wanted to reveal anything, that they would be killed and turned into compost for the Gulf terrains, like other CUNTS before. Okay? And then the amount of old men. Okay, there have been a lot of names circulated there who did those things. Okay, who are free today, have never been tried, though they were investigated. Okay, those files, the 3 million pages that are now released and said to be only about half of the entirety of the files, those have been documented throughout the years. So there were people already being documented, recorded with proof, women being threatened, women being killed, their bodies turning up. So with proof, and yet they were allowed to walk free because there was complicity in the administration. And before you think that this is heavy or dark, I would like to tell you that at the beginning of this year, the algorithm on YouTube caught me with the testimonies of a woman named Anneke Lucas. She's European. She now lives in the United States, and for 10 years, she has been revealing that when she was a child, she was sold to a European trafficking ring in Belgium. Initially, she thought it was only people in Belgium, but in the 5 years, so from the age of 6 to the age of 11, she was exploited there. She's witnessed a lot of atrocities, and she's also realized that it was international. There are a lot of interviews or testimonies as well of hers on YouTube. If you just type Anneke Lucas, you're gonna hear about it. So I would like to tell you that this isn't just in the United States. This is everywhere. One of the things that she has said that a lot of the victims from the living victims or survivors of the Epstein abuse haven't said, she put it in very simple words. She saw people from all kinds of elites, nobility, politics, administration, business, clergy, attending those events, doing these atrocities, raping and killing and eating those children. Yeah, I know this is heavy. She said that everything was being filmed And that the more atrocious the crimes or the deeds that those people acted out, the higher their positions later were in different fields. Okay, so as she put it in words, this was their initiation, and it was people who willingly did those things. They weren't forced against their will to do those things. They agreed to do those things. In exchange of those atrocities and the recording and documenting of them, they were then given the high positions. And with those recordings, they were controlled to do what they were supposed to do in those places. When in one of the interviews that Anneke Lucas gave, the interviewer asked if to her knowledge this is still happening, her answer was, I don't know that anybody did anything to stop those things. She has given some names. She did mention that all her abusers are now dead. So she was 6 at the time. This was happening in the late 60s and early 70s. People then, the adults then, are no longer alive. However, she did not give too many names because the families of those people might sue her. So in order for her to do this work, she needed to be in freedom because, again, people in administration are accomplices. And the conclusion is that all of the ruling elite, now we are ruled by these sick people who do these atrocious things. You understand me? Once we realize this, we're going to ask ourselves, so why should we abide by the laws if these people are now documented, not just with testimonies, but with released documents, officially released documents? They are documented to do heinous crimes, and they were walking free. What's stopping us from not doing the same thing? This is really big. And I think the answer here is going to come down to something that Donald Trump said, but he doesn't have it. Our own human compass. He doesn't have it, okay? The guy is just as... He was there interacting, I'm just using this word, okay? It's a high or a huge euphemism. Interacting with children, okay? It's documented in those files. He wants to tell us that his own moral compass is the only one who holds... Yeah, we're not going to believe that. People like you and I who never even conceived of doing such atrocious things, we don't need to, okay? We don't have this narcissistic and sick and void inside of us, and we don't need to rule others and play God with others and think that we're gods. We're not, by the way. Nobody is the kind of God that has the right to take the life of somebody else, torture, do such kind of atrocities. Nobody. Okay? Not a single one of us. We're all born in the same way. We all die in the same way. We're all made of the same stuff. Just because some of us agree, some of them actually, to be more accurate, agree to do these kinds of atrocities doesn't mean that they're above us. They're not. They think they are. They're not. Okay, so the only thing keeping the whole world sane right now is the genuine and true moral and human compass that most of us actually have. And if you're following my channel, you're going to ask yourself, so why, if I see these things, why would I even bother with what? With sexual growth and education and putting in the effort to save my relationship and being a moral person or just a sane person, somebody in peace and harmony? This might seem like a joke, right? Well, I do believe that we're not just a piece of flesh, okay? And then when we die, there's nothing. I genuinely believe that there's more to us than what we can perceive with the 5 senses. And not only is there retribution in this life, because the whole releasing of the Epstein files is probably gonna shake at least the United States to a degree that if you ask me, their entire ruling class needs to be fired. Okay, let's just use Donald Trump's words. They're fired. And the whole thing rethought when it comes to what it means to be a human being in charge of, or in, how do I say this? In service of other human beings. They're not ruling other people. They're in service of other people. Other people who give them the money that they think that makes them gods. Okay? So this whole moral compass that is lacking, severely lacking in all those ruling elites now, yeah, those need to go down. If you're again coming to back to your own life and thinking, well, why should I behave myself? It's a very justified question with everything that we see now, right? Well, I'll put it very plainly here. If you want to sell your soul to the devil, and believe me, they're not selling the souls of the people that they torture to the devil. No. None of those victims are going to the devil. The only people who are going to the devil and living their own hell here, okay, because it's not easy to live with those. Trust me, it's not easy. They're not healthy. You just look at how they look. Okay, you look at what happens to them physically, all of those things. If you've learned anything about somatizing, they take an effect on your body, but also on your family, on the relationships that you have. Those people are empty of genuine human affection, and they don't have sincere relationships around them. How could they? And what happens to them, one in this life, what happens to their ancestors in this life, because there is such a thing as you come from that person's family, you were raised as a benefit of those atrocious things that those people did, okay, their children, their children's children are going to carry that burden. Also, you may not see it now because that it's just too soon now, but it happens, okay? It does happen. And then if you have any kind of belief that there's also a soul, by the way, in Jeffrey Epstein's last interview, which I really tried to listen to, he did mention about the existence of the soul. What that does to you, okay, you're going straight to the devil. And from, if you've ever seen any material, which there's a lot of it on YouTube, about people who had near-death experiences, went above the human existence, there's an afterlife, and there's purgatory in it. Okay, what it looks like is different from what we are told in the Bible. That thing exists. Okay, and there are other traditions and religions that also approach that. Okay, please understand, we're not just pieces of meat. Although these people here who are extremely demonic treat us as, okay, we're not just pieces of meat. So unless you're really made of that stuff, I would suggest don't follow in those footsteps. Really. Mentally, you would have to be extremely deranged and, yeah, just an abomination, a walking abomination, in order to bear with that. Those people can bear with that. And you've heard a lot of names of presidents from the United States, okay? A lot of them, whether the Republican or Democratic. Okay? How those people live, how their children look at them now, I can't even imagine. And then how you carry that with you to the grave, and then beyond, again, the near-death experiences, they come. Okay? There are a lot of channels here. You're going to take this as a laughing stock if you're one of those deranged creatures, subhumans, okay? Not human beings with a bit of light in them, they don't do that. Those are subhumans, okay? Creatures that are just subhuman. You're going to laugh at them and move on. Or enjoy the whatever stances we take. If you're a bit sane in your head, you're gonna don't repeat those things, okay? Honestly, this is the only thing that I can tell you. That genuine human compass that those people do not have, that you have, that is the one that should guide you. Remember, we don't have to eat shit if other people do. We don't have to jump in God knows what kind of precipice just because other stupid people do, or subhumans. You don't. Okay? That's the simplest answer that I can give you here. That's why it's worth tending to your peaceful life, tending to your peaceful, intimate lives and relationships, respecting the other soul that is living with you in that beautiful, intimate relationship. Okay? Let them walk away if they want to walk away. Find other people whom you want to be intimate with and they want to be intimate with you. It's not. The easiest thing is to harm others and be monsters. The more advanced, truly advanced thing is actually to treat another human being with a soul as such. And respect them and honor them and respect and honor yourself. Yeah, it comes down to that. If you think it's a joke, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm really sorry for you. If you don't think it's a joke, then just stay on this path. Honestly. Whatever you hear from the Epstein files or any other, like Anneke Lucas testimonies of Europe, and in my case, because this is something that I've also heard from China, okay, the Chinese entertainment. I did one video here, but on TikTok I got dozens of videos on what atrocities are happening that are similar to these in their entertainment, okay? Anywhere you have ruling elites, whether they call them the red elites in China, or the political elites in Europe or in the United States, okay? Somebody mentioned also about the red shoe elites. Yeah, Illuminati, whatever other names they want to call themselves. So wherever you have these people who want to be elite and think that doing these kinds of atrocities warrants them to be part of the elite, I would say just let those sick, subhuman creatures be, okay? Ask that justice is being served for all of them, anywhere on this planet, okay? At this point, even if it came from Australia, even if it came from Africa, Asia, Europe, the North American continent, South American continent, wherever, okay? Whatever other continent, Oceania, I don't know what you pronounce it in English. Wherever this is done on this planet, the only thing that will keep you sane is one understanding that you're more than just a subhuman creature who's doing the things that not even animals do. Not even animals do that. Okay? And they don't have a prefrontal cortex. So, I'm going to leave you with this. I don't know if you've stuck with me all the way to this point. I would really love to know how you stay sane while finding out more and more of the atrocities that were being done. And if at any point you can help the victims, the survivors, get justice, get sane lives, and how you help the system be purged of these stupid atrocities. I'm really looking forward to your comments. And then I'll see you with more happy, beautiful, harmonious, intimacy, honoring videos that I put out here.